Well, hello there, Tom Green coming back at you with some Figma goodness. And today's goodness continues our exploration of the auto layout feature of Figma. As you saw in the previous exercise, getting to the point where we can do this has been rather fascinating to say the least. So let's get started. Auto layout is one of those features that tends to receive a lot of adoration and reverence. So let's get that out of the way. All auto layout does, once all of the hype and reverence is stripped away, is to automatically adjust the padding, margins, and element resizing inside a container. Just keep that in mind as we go through this exercise. So what I have here are three images I pulled in using the UI Faces plugin. Now with the container selected, I can come over to the auto layout here in the properties and click the plus sign, and that will change it to auto layout. There's another way of doing this. You just select whatever element it is, and on a Mac press Command A, or on a PC press Control A. And there's another kind of interesting way of doing it. Just right click and you can see there's auto layout in there that you can apply. So if I select this element here, right click, add auto layout. Now, auto layout, as you've seen, can be applied to a frame, or it can be applied to the elements inside of a frame, or in the case of a component, both. When I apply auto layout to a frame, two things happen. The first thing that happens is this container icon changes. Okay, it changes from the frame icon to that little icon with the two bars, which indicates a container. And the other thing is, the content in the frame is essentially locked. I can move content out of the frame onto the pasteboard, but I can't move it around inside the frame. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So I'm going to select this image, and I'm going to try and move it over here, and you notice I can't move it. So I'll try moving her up there. It won't move. So essentially, the content is locked into place because of the auto layout. So let's take a look at how the content is affected by auto layout. I got a number of choices along here. I've got vertical direction. Okay, so the container goes vertically, but I can also change it to horizontal, and notice everything changes. I can set the spacing between the items. So if I click and drag, you can see I can increase the width of the container, but the spacing, as it increases, will increase the width of the container. Now you notice what I'm doing here. You see that double arrow? That indicates that I've got scrubby numbers. And what I can do is just drag the mouse with the mouse button held down and change the number till it's proper. Or I can simply just double click the value and change it there. This is the padding. So if I scrub through it, you can see I can adjust the padding around the elements. And this little button here is actually alignment and padding, and this is kind of cool. Basically, what I can do is I can individually adjust the padding. So if I say, look, instead of 101, I want 10 pixels of padding at the top and 25 pixels of padding at the bottom, I'm there. Now, if I move this icon around, you'll notice not much happens because it's jammed in. But if I do that and change that number, this content's all going to swing over. Now, watch what happens when I increase this. Watch the content. Boom. Now, there are two choices here, packed and spaced between. Basically, packed says that it's just jammed in there. And the space between, you can see the icon changes. So the space between the elements, when set to the alignment, can change. Okay, so I'm going to close that. And now let's deal with resizing. Now you get a couple of choices here. You get fixed width or fixed height. Okay, so fixed width, fixed height, or you can hug the contents. And basically, when you choose hug, on the width and on the height, notice? And basically what happens here is the parent resizes to match the width and height of the children. So the container is the parent, the children are right here, and the container has changed. Now if I select this image here and I set it to fill container with a fixed height, watch what happens when I change the container. Not much. But if I set them both to fill container, now watch what happens. You notice that she gets bigger and the element selected fills the container. So there you have it, auto layout. Nothing mysterious about it, and if you're familiar with CSS, it's the same thing, only done differently. And now that we have a handle on how this works, and in the next exercise, let's put it to work with some actual content. I'll see you there.